Web Marketing That Works podcast, episode number 88, with today's guest, Ramsay Taplin from blog Tyrant.
Welcome to the Web Marketing That Works podcast. Come behind the scenes of real-life marketing experiments and listen in as amazing guests confess the truth about what really works. Now, here are your hosts, Adam Franklin and Toby Jenkins.
My name's Adam Franklin, and you are listening to the Web Marketing That Works podcast. This is the show for people who love marketing on the web. Thank you for joining me today, because I will be taking you behind the scenes of real-life marketing experiments so that I can show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, today's show is brought to you by mine and Toby's book, which is also called Web Marketing That Works, and we've got a special gift for you, which is the 33 free marketing templates that go with it. So if you want to get your hands on those, pop on over to bluewiremedia.com.au/book. Now, today's guest is a fellow Aussie blogger. I've followed this guy for quite a few years now. His name is Ramsay Taplin, and you might know him as the blog Tyrant. He has appeared on many of the big blogs on the internet. He's written for Copyblogger. He's written for Smart Passive Income, which is Pat Flynn's website. He's written for ProBlogger as well. And he has got a very great way of explaining stuff. You know, a lot of stuff that we hear about on the web can seem so confusing, but Ramsay's got a very clear way of making everything make sense. So I've actually got a whole bunch of questions that I wanted to ask him. I've worked my way through all of those, so I'm sure you're going to enjoy the show. We get quite tactical. There's plenty of take-home value. So let's pop on over and hear from Ramsay himself. My name is Adam Franklin, and I'm joined by Ramsay Taplin with a familiar Australian accent, which is great, and he is from a website called blogtyrant.com. Welcome, Ramsay.
Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Now, are you joining us from Adelaide today?
Yes, sunny old Adelaide.
Good man, good man. I'm up in Brisbane, so it's good to have an Australian accent. As I said, there's been a lot of US accents of late. So, look, I've been following your blog and more recently your podcast, and there's just so many areas that I would love to chat to you about. But before we get into the tactical stuff, you've got this mysterious role as a full-time blogger, which to many people is quite foreign. You make money from it. You blog really well. Can you tell us, what does a day in your life look like?
Oh, I get up around midday, go for a swim in the... No,
drive the Ferrari to the beach.
I get, when people say like full-time blogger, I get a little bit kind of uncertain about that, just because we do so many different things. A typical day for me, I guess I try to sync up with US time, as you probably know the feeling, because things work a lot better when you're online when USA is waking up. So I'm usually up pretty late, a lot of day in front of the computer, and a lot of the day just mucking around testing different ideas to do with conversion rates and things to do with the content marketing. So laptop time, it's all day.
Now, did you finished university in Adelaide and you went straight into this blogging career, or did you have a taste of a real sort of corporate job along the way?
No, I dropped out of uni. I was doing a business degree when I sold my first website for a 5-figure sum, and then just sort of decided that maybe I should give that a go. I really wasn't satisfied at uni. I'd spend a lot of time, I'd catch the bus into town, go to uni, wait for the lecture, and then when everybody went in, thought, I don't want to do this. And so I'd go to the computer rooms and blog and muck around with websites. And so when I did sell that first blog, that was when I thought, all right, let's go and do this instead for a while. And it took a long time to get it to the full-time kind of stuff that it's at now, but that was the beginning.
Awesome. And so for the listeners that are new to your material, what brings in most of your revenue these days? Is it purely online sales, or do you include other things like offline speaking or consulting or anything else like that?
A big goal for me when I started all of this was to kind of transition away as much as possible from any real world kind of stuff. So I avoid clients and things like that. It's probably 90% affiliate sales at the moment. Yeah, so I'm just kind of riding that while it's working.
Nice. So just to clarify for the listeners, an affiliate sale is where you sell someone else's product and you then clip the ticket or take a cut of that commission as your way of being paid to promote their material, hey?
Yeah, that's pretty much right. And you can sort of, the plan is then to, make relationships with the companies or the people who are producing those products and be involved in, making them better or being able to promote them widely. And then I guess down the track, we'll be launching a range of Blog Tyrant products, which then will get promoted by some of the people we've got relationships.
Fantastic. Well, I like to keep these podcasts nice and actionable for our listeners. So I wouldn't mind maybe kicking off with, say, email marketing as a topic, because I know you've done a lot of testing in this area. How does that sound?
Let's do it.
All right. So you've done a lot of email marketing. Let's start high level. What are some tips and what are some mistakes to avoid?
Oh, mistakes to avoid. A big one, I think, I don't know if this is kind of at the level you're talking, correct me if it's not, but the big one, I think, is assuming that a large sign-up rate will equal a large open rate or a large click-through rate once the subscribers have received your emails. I mean, there's a lot of money. I see companies spending a lot of money on Facebook campaigns in particular. Now in Australia, we've got Twitter ads that have opened up here. They go to these fantastic landing pages with great offers. But I sort of question sometimes how much they're really tracking it beyond the initial subscriber kind of first interaction and go into the long-term sales. I used to have a much higher subscribe rate on Blog Tyrant in particular when I was using pop-ups and particular offers, but it wasn't translating to bigger open rates and click-through rates when I did, finally get them down the funnel. So I guess a big tip I'd start with is make sure your traffic sources are really well targeted to the end goal out and specific outcomes that you want from those particular subscribers.
Very interesting. So you're thinking maybe people opted in for the offer and then just sort of skipped out, or not even unsubscribed, but just stayed on the list, but not actually opened any subsequent emails after that first conversion.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I mean, it happens a lot. Like we can see it with our stats that they don't do anything more, but then they're not really engaged later on. If they do take some actions, it doesn't last very long. That is one of the troubles with a free giveaway if it's not matched properly to your brand. But also you just kind of find, and it's hard to get yourself back in this frame of mind as you become more sort of expert, I guess, online. But a lot of people actually don't understand what's going on when they enter in an email address to get something, to get it. So that educational process is really big. Like I watched my mum subscribe to something recently on the internet and really didn't understand why she was getting emails still and so on and so forth. So yeah, that traffic source is super important, especially if you're throwing money at campaigns.
So it's important to set the expectation then for whoever it is who's putting their email address into your landing page.
Yeah, the expectations on your landing page are such a huge thing, but then also the educational process along the way. On Blog Tyrant, when you sign up, you get redirected to a thank you page, and make sure you click the confirmation page, which I've specifically designed to get people to understand what's happening next, and each email then sets the tone for the next one that should come. And I think that's making a difference.
That sounds really interesting. So have you got any tips on cleaning your email list, which I guess for listeners means removing or reactivating, one or the other, the inactive subscribers on your list?
Yeah, I personally don't do any reactivation marketing. Like if somebody's unsubscribed, I just delete them. And I also, spend a little bit of time getting rid of people who haven't opened any emails for 60 days. Everyone's got kind of a different cutoff point, but yeah, I like to keep it pretty tight and pretty small lists. I don't really think there's any point in keeping them on for too long if they're not taking an action.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So 60 days is your cutoff then?
Yeah, around about 60 days. It often depends when I get around to doing it, but that is usually it, yeah.
And so do you just automatically take them off, or do you give them a final chance to say, hey, you haven't opened anything for a while, I'm keen to know if you're interested or not, and give them the option to click a link to stay, or do you just cut them off?
I'm only doing ones that haven't really engaged with anything. So they might have got the initial confirmation email and then got a free ebook or something that I was offering at a particular time. But if they haven't engaged with anything after that, then I just delete them straight away. I don't bother emailing at all.
And so, Ramsay, when somebody opts into your material and joins your email list, do you then have a sales funnel that guides them on a particular path?
The main thing for my mailing list is that I want people to be engaged with my content, which I email out when I do a new post or article. So I kind of make sure that, if people are just subscribing for updates to the blog, that whatever offer I'm doing in conjunction with that kind of enhances the feeling around being involved with the Blog Tyrant brand. So they'll learn something straight away, get actionable content straight away, things that they can apply. They'll get a few follow-up emails. But again, the follow-up emails, I think we've only got 4 at the moment. They're really specifically aimed at just getting bloggers to view blogging the way I want them to think about it. And it kind of sounds a little bit arrogant, I guess, but there's so many different blogging platforms for starters, and then everybody approaches it a completely different way. And the way that I've had success with it is a very sort of specific way. And because that's the only thing I really know about and the only thing I continue to test and write about, I want the people who subscribe to my site to kind of be on board with that philosophy. So the first material they get, the free reports, and then the automatic follow-up emails is all centered around making sure they're on board with this particular type of blogging, so that when they do see new content come through, it's something that they can automatically add, and hopefully it applies to them and isn't kind of a bit of information that they don't need.
Okay, so what is this blogging philosophy that you have that you want people to be on board with?
I mean, it's not a philosophy in a kind of an elevator pitch sense of the word, but I mean, the main things are, I really think people need their own domain and web host, like really basic stuff here. In terms of search engine optimization, in terms of, the different things you can do with content marketing, you really need that back end and that platform, that specific brand. I then really kind of emphasize long form, detailed content. And not doing this everyday kind of posting style that a lot of bloggers do. I really focus on the long form, value-driven kind of content. And that's a really new thing for a lot of bloggers who are just starting out, who might just be posting photos or little updates from their company or whatever. It never really solves any problems for anyone. So that's a big one. But I guess the big thing for me that kind of changed the way I approach blogging and internet marketing, and something that I want to kind of help my subscribers to understand as well, is there's a great book from the Ehrenberg Bass Institute in South Australia, the University of South Australia, by a guy called Byron Sharp. It's a book called How Brands Grow. They've done all this study and research into marketing laws of truth, and basically looking at all of the marketing, sayings and philosophies that we all kind of believe and take for granted, but there actually isn't any data to support that they're true. And this book, it's got like an emotional warning at the start of the book. It's excellent because so many of the things you think about marketing are kind of disproven by their data. And now they're being backed by massive brands. I think like GM and some really big international companies are interested in the stuff that they're talking about. But one of the things he emphasized in the book is that your brand needs to be distinctive. It doesn't necessarily need to be original. You don't need to be the first, but you do need to be distinctive. And so that's something that I really try to emphasize with the blogging, is different ways that we can make our blogs, our content, the problems that we solve, and present it in a really distinctive way so that you're standing out from the billions of other people that are out there.
And was that one of the reasons why you originally started your blog in anonymity and you recently came out and sort of told us who you were?
I'd like to think that it was that deliberate, but it probably wasn't. I think because at that point, my background with the online kind of world and blogging was selling blogs. And I had this idea. Initially, Blog Tyrant was going to be a full marketplace for everything to do with blogging. You could hire writers, you could buy old blogs, you could sell content that you've written, or, domain names, the whole thing. So I registered the domain name, thought that's a good idea, and then just wrote some content to start populating it. And one of those posts went on the front page of Delicious, and it had brought like 17,000 visitors in the first week. And I was like, okay, let's work on this instead. But because I was only thinking about selling the blog, I kind of wanted to keep my name and face off it, because with content blogs in the past, I'd had a little bit of trouble selling them because the new owner was worried that they couldn't continue with that brand because it wasn't me writing it. Then I think it was 2 years later, I was in Bali and I just proposed to my now fiance. And I was walking back from that event and I had an email from Glenn from viperchill.com where he had asked if I wanted to come on board and be the first person to ever write on Viperchill other than him. But one of the conditions was that I'd do this big unmasking on his site. And it seemed like such a good opportunity. A couple of other people like Pat Flynn from Smart Passive Income, a few others had said like they think it was holding the brand back, that there wasn't a face on there. And so we did it. We unmasked on Viper Chill and it got like 500 comments and it was really great feedback. And I think since then things have really picked up. So yeah, it wasn't a deliberate decision necessarily, but I'm glad we did it in the end.
Now, Ramsay, one of the things I've noticed you do very well is your SEO, your search engine optimization. And to many people, it's a dark art, but you evidently know exactly what you're talking about and you're very visible in search engines and with high domain authority and everything else. Have you taken a proactive approach on search engine optimization from the beginning, or is it something that you've learnt more about and implemented in more recent times?
I guess it's something I've always been interested in. Like it's fascinating to see how Google algorithms change and what you can do to, improve your rankings, but also do it in a way that is sustainable. The big catalyst for me was probably working with Glenn from Viper Chill, who's, I think, the most exciting kind of person in SEO. I don't know if you've seen the stuff he wrote, but did a lot of challenges to Google and wrote about a lot of unfair things that they were doing, and then really like driving in experiments he was doing using techniques that not everybody was sort of happy about, but they were getting huge results. And so he kind of made me think about it more. I'm really not a risk taker when it comes to SEO. Like, because Blog Tyrant is a brand that I want to keep working on for years to come, I've never taken any risks with it. So I don't build links. I've never paid for anything like that. I do sort of read about it and research it myself so I can understand, the best things that I can do naturally. But things like, when Matt Cutts from Google recently came out and said building backlinks with guest posting was a bad idea. Now, that's the kind of stuff I think Glenn encouraged me to think differently about. I don't build backlinks with guest posts, but I still see guest posts as a fantastic way to get exposure for your brand, for your website, which then in turn leads to more backlinks if you're providing value and solving problems. So my approach to SEO, like the approach to blogging and probably to online sales as well, is to focus on that long form content and solving, very specific problems that I research for quite a long time to make sure that it is problems that my target audience is having. But yeah, never really any specific SEO techniques like, building backlinks in a way that I think might ever get me a penalty or something like that.
And that's a really good point, I think, for people listening in is that, there's two trains of thought with SEO. One is to try and deliver good quality, valuable content that your readers want, which is white hat SEO, which is what I'm a big advocate of. And then there's, I guess, that grey hat or black hat where you try and manipulate Google by building backlinks, but that's certainly not anything that I would recommend. And when we do talk about building backlinks, it kind of almost sounds a bit dodgy, but really the way to look at it is relationship building. And if somebody links to me, it's because they're linking to the content. And if they're linking to Ramsay, then they're linking to his content. And I think sometimes people can get a little bit confused and hear stuff from Matt Cutts and go, oh, okay, so guest blogging's out, so that's going to penalize me. But if you're doing good quality stuff, then I always say that Google will continue to reward the generous content creators and the helpful content creators on the web. And over time, as you said, you get more and more backlinks and you become more visible on the search engines, which of course leads to more traffic if you do it effectively.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You mentioned you did a lot of research before you write your blog articles. Can you talk us through what you do as part of this research process?
Yeah. So, the first thing, and this is again one of the things to do with my style of blogging that I try to talk about on Blog Tyrant, I guess, is that so many bloggers have this kind of, and when I say bloggers, I sort of also mean content creators for companies and, marketing managers for companies. They create this content in this kind of way, like you just make it and see what sticks. It's a really splintered approach. And I think people get frustrated with content creation, blogging and, social networking sites because they don't have an overarching strategy for their content. So one of the things I always try to do is think about every post that I write will have a role on my site. So it's either part of a particular funnel that's going to, encourage people to subscribe to a particular list, which will then be for a particular launch that will happen in a few months. Or if it's an affiliate product that I'm promoting that I want to make some money from, I'll make sure the content, sort of falls around that particular affiliate product and answers questions and gets people maybe interested in purchasing that affiliate product. I never do direct things like product reviews really, but kind of mention it in an organic way if I've used it. So when it comes to research, the first step is for me make sure you know what strategy, what particular blogging or content strategy this piece of content is going to fall into. The next thing I do is I go and look at all of the competitors. So I'll type, the search phrase. If I'm targeting a particular search phrase on Google that I want to rank for in a year or 5 years, I'll have a look at the competition, see what's happening on the front page. Firstly, what results are Google showing? Are they showing long form content? Is it fresh content? Is it aged content? How long is it? How many news articles are there? Are there videos? Are there other kinds of images, graphics? And then kind of put together an idea of what Google wants to show readers at that point in time. And then you go deeper into the sites and see, what they've written about, how they've approached this particular key phrase. How can I do something that's different to them? I don't necessarily think I can do anything better than them, but I can probably find a way to do it differently, which might mean a longer article, more resources, different graphics, whatever. Sometimes Google really loves to rank tools that people create. And then I guess the final step in that research process, after I've looked at the strategy, the competition, is then to just go into an analysis tool, like a free one that people can use is just straight out of Google AdWords, and just look at search volume for particular keywords and really play around with that for a while to make sure that, if you're targeting, mahogany tables, type in that keyword and see if you can, narrow it down with a long tail phrase like mahogany tables, New York City, or is there a different variation that you can do that has less competition and more traffic, like plurals or not plurals, or putting the words together, or spelling errors, all sorts of things, just to see whether you're getting the right amount of traffic or enough of amount of a traffic to put this level of work into the post that, I guess is usually required.
So you're working out before you do the hard work, with a little bit of research, you're working out if that particular topic is going to be worth your while investing in.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done a few articles. One article recently was an ultimate guide to how to start a blog and dominate your niche, which I did on Blog Tyrant. It was almost 10,000 words long. It took me a couple of weeks to put together and research. And so when you're doing an article like that, you don't want to spend all that time creating that content, or if you're a company that you're paying somebody to write it, spending all that money so that they can do that, unless you're sure that the keyword you're targeting is, a good idea. A, it's getting enough traffic, and B, the level of competition is enough that you can sort of get in there as well. It's a huge waste. And even small things like plurals or changing the word from good to bad or good to best or better can have a huge variation in traffic.
That's fascinating. And so on the topic of traffic, you have very strong traffic. Your Alexa rank is very high, which means there's a high level of people coming to your site on a regular basis. What would be your approach to getting traffic? Is it most of it coming through search engines or social media, or all of the above? Like, what are some of the insights you can share in terms of getting your traffic to the level that it's at now?
The main thing that I kind of talk about is that it's really important not to rely on Google too much. It's really tempting to rely on Google because the traffic levels are so huge if you do it properly. And also the people using Google are usually in a more kind of actionable frame of mind, which is a bit of a debate between people who are advocates of Google and people who are advocates of Facebook marketing. Invariably, if somebody's typing something into Google, it's because they want the answer to a problem. So if your website comes up, people are in a much more buy-ready frame of mind. So that traffic is really good. But, we don't own our results on Google. They're their own company. They can put us wherever they want. And I think people sometimes forget that. And it's a huge risk if you are building up a company and a source of revenue that is totally reliant on Google traffic, and then suddenly you get a penalty or you get de-indexed or you just go down a few results. We know the first result in Google gets like 70% of the traffic or something. So if you're dropping down from 1 to 5, almost all of your revenue is going to go. So relying on that too much, I think, is always a big risk. Still, most of my traffic comes from Google. I think everybody's does, but I really try to supplement that with paid campaigns on Facebook that target specific promotions that I want to do or specific content that I want to get out there, which then as well, like I said before, it can help you to build backlinks, which then helps your Google rankings as well, because by running these ad campaigns, you're getting in front of people who then might link to your content and spread it even further.
Awesome. And so finally, what's your take on social media, and should we be paying for ads? Should we be growing our communities? What are some of your high value tips there?
I'm pretty crap at it. Social media is not my thing. I don't really value it very much in my niche. Some people do it really, really well. Some people have, hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter and Facebook, and it translates to 3 or 4 visitors to their website when they do a promotion. I'm not that big on it. Some companies absolutely need to be on it. Like if you're looking at companies that have a physical location, restaurants, hotels, things where people are leaving reviews, those things are massive. If you type in, like Hotel Brisbane, and your hotel comes up first and it's got 25-star reviews from Google because people who are searching for it are, in the area, that's going to mean a lot of money for your company. So that social stuff is really important, Yelp, Facebook reviews, all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I think people spend way too much time on social networking sites, hoping that they're going to build up this following and then it builds traffic to the website or to the company. And I just haven't really found that many examples where it's true. But the ads, Facebook ads, done a little bit of testing with Twitter ads, not that much, but Facebook ads, it's phenomenal. Same with Google ads. I think if people have even a little bit of budget, even $10, $20 a week to put onto Facebook ads to start experimenting with campaigns, seeing what they can learn from that as well about their audience and about their target market, it can have huge results. We had one lady called Marina started a blog after reading an article that I wrote on fashion blogging. She started a fashion blog and ran a Facebook ads campaign straight away, straight out of the box. She's really impressive. And got 17,800 subscribers, I think it was, in 6 weeks.
Wow.
And that's more than most people get in years. And that was just from she's decided, Facebook wants us to pay now. I'm going to run a few ads campaigns to a pretty simple landing page, and she's done extremely well. And that brand now, it's called notamodel.com or .net. The brand she's built is brilliant and it's thriving because of that initial Facebook ad spend. It's definitely really powerful.
So when you say ad spend, are you talking in this particular case of retargeting or lookalike audiences or boosting content? What specific part of Facebook ads are we talking here?
Yeah, I mean, like retargeting, remarketing stuff is incredibly powerful if you're there, if you're expert enough at doing it. But the main thing I think people should be doing is on their website or blog having a really well-written landing page that is promoting a specific offer, whether it's your own, signing up to a mailing list, getting a freebie, or if it's a product, whatever. Split testing that landing page a lot, doing multivariate testing with that to make sure that it's converting well. And then once you're sure that it's converting okay, then you go onto Facebook and just do really simple campaigns in Facebook ads. The boosts don't seem to work as well because, the main issue for me is that you can't in the boost, I don't think anyway, choose between desktop and mobile sites. A lot of affiliate websites that I promote, they don't have a mobile version of the website, so that is a little bit lost. But just working out in Facebook ads what audience you're targeting, who your main audience is, and then trying to get that click-through rate as high as possible, anything over like 1.3%, and then getting the cost per click down as low as possible. And in that process, even just spending like $20 or $50, you can learn so much about your brand and about who your audience is and about who are the main players also in that audience, who is, sharing your content and interacting with it, subscribing in a way that actually makes a difference to your subscriber levels or to your revenue.
Thank you. That's great. Now, you've recently started a podcast, the Blog Tyrant Experiments. What's been the impact of that?
Some people have hated it, which has been nice. We've had I think a lot of people who read Blog Tyrant like the long form kind of approach to it, but I really wanted to get back onto the podcasting and just do one experiment per podcast. So some of them are really short. The last episode was 6 minutes long. And it's just a quick way for me to share with people kind of informally what tests and stuff I'm doing with blogging and email marketing, because I get a lot of emails from people asking, have you done this? Have you done that? And that's sort of a more digestible format. So I don't have to do these massive long articles for topics that maybe don't warrant such a big bit of coverage.
Interesting. I love the fact that you do those marketing experiments. That's something that I've been big on over the years as well. And I've certainly enjoyed podcasting myself. So look, thanks for answering all of my questions on these topics. I've been super interested in everything you've had to say. Now, before we call it a day, have you got any final words of wisdom or anything else you want to get off your chest before we wrap up?
Oh, that's a big one. I still think the most important thing, if you're going to read a book, this year, read How Brands Grow by Byron Sharp. That's a really good one to read just because it focuses your marketing efforts. That was a really important one for me. And within that, I think just figuring out a way to be distinctive, whatever company you're working for, whether it's your own or another one, the content that you create has to be different and memorable in some way. It really doesn't have to be original. It doesn't have to be brilliant, but the brands that seem to be successful are the ones that are being super distinctive in some way or another. And even, the marketing things that you're doing can be distinctive as well, not necessarily just the content. So I think that word distinctive is an important one for me, and maybe more people could be focusing on that.
And finally, what's the best way for people to find out more about you or to connect with you online?
Blogtyrant.com is where all the magic happens. I'm on Twitter all day, so people can find me there at blogtyrant. Easy.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ramsay. That was incredibly valuable, and I appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
Oh, no worries. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. And that's a wrap for my chat with Ramsay Taplin. Pretty cool to get him on the show. I'm always keen to see what other Aussie bloggers are up to. And of course, he's not just a blogger. He's across all things online marketing. He's got a great online business there. I'd call him a content marketer, an email marketer, a blogger, an SEO specialist, online business person. He's got it all going on. He obviously understands it very well. He's a good teacher. Interesting that that he tries to do it nearly all online. Actually, no, it's very understandable, actually. But what I got from him was to not only read How Brands Grow, but also to be distinctive. And it was interesting how he said you don't have to be the best or the most original or any of that, but if you've got your own style and you're distinctive, then it doesn't matter necessarily as much about what you're saying as long as it's helping the people that you serve. And it's often a question I'm asked is, Adam, there's already people that write about fitness or law or accounting. Why does the world need another accounting blog or health blog? And my answer is always, well, yes, there's information all over the web. People want to hear from you. They've got a relationship with you, and it's your personality and it's the way you explain things to them that they like. And I always draw the comparison to lawyers and accountants. There are hundreds of lawyers and hundreds of accountants, yet we all have one, and we choose our accountants or we choose our lawyers based on a number of things, but a lot of the time it's based on their personality. At the end of the day, they're basically giving us the same advice, but we pick the one we like. And so if you're thinking about starting out a blog or an online business, take the fact that there's other people doing it already as a positive sign. There's a demand for what you're going to write about. And then all you need to do is be distinctive and explain it in a way that's that your readers and your audience and your tribe understands and appreciates. And you start there, be distinctive and keep pushing on. And as you can see, Ramsay dropped out of uni in order to do this, and it's paying off for him. So lots of great stuff there. Email marketing, sales funnels, autoresponders, traffic, guest blogging, SEO, keyword research, all the stuff that I love, and great to hear what Ramsay's take on all of that was. So, like always, the purpose of these podcasts is to deliver actionable advice, which Ramsay delivered in spades. I'm always keen to hear your feedback, good, bad, or otherwise. So always feel free to drop me a line, adam.franklin@bluewiremedia.com.au, or you can tweet me at franklin_adam. And if you liked the show, and I do hope that you enjoyed it, it would be very meaningful to Toby and myself if you could head over to iTunes right now and leave us a review or a rating. It increases our visibility on iTunes, and that means we can get more downloads and continue to get more good quality guests on the show so that you and I can both learn from them. So thank you for listening all the way through to the end. I'll see you on the next show. Bye.